Welcome back to the program. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Now, as we know, in Nigeria, there are 3 tiers of governments: the federal, the state, and the local government. And as stipulated by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, each arm of, or each tier of government should have their roles and responsibilities stipulated for them, and for the local governments there should be the autonomy. And simply put, the autonomy of the local government should be devoid of the federal and the state controlling the affairs of the local government. But be that as it may, in Nigeria, is that what we're truly witnessing, or are there issues around stifling, especially in the release of funds for local government administration in Nigeria? So that's what we want to take a look at on the program today, particularly looking at governors and local government autonomy in Nigeria. And we do have a guest in the house this morning. He's a lawyer, as well as the principal partner at Fasoranti and Co. Thank you for being here, Oluseye Fasoranti, on the program.
Thank you very much.
Right, you're a lawyer, so there are certain things that we know that by your training, you know, and of course we know that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria also expressly put or has apportioned responsibilities to the 3 tiers of governments: the federal, the state, and the local. But as it were in Nigeria, would you say, or would you agree that the way the local governments are operating presently, they are totally autonomous in their dealings?
First of all, I would like to start by saying that local government autonomy cannot be overemphasized. Two, we're talking about effectiveness, responsiveness of governance, you know, at the local level or the community level. You know, they do not have the autonomy. And to be honest, it's killing the grassroots. For instance, you know, the local governments are the ones that are closer to the people.
Right.
They know their needs. They can identify with their needs. If you look at developed countries, for example, the United Kingdom, you see a lot of council flats. You see a lot of, you know, things being done by the local governments, by the councils. You hardly see the state government in, you know, you don't even have
that visible.
You don't even have interface with them. So they you know, I mean, they're able to, and that's why there's the crime rate is next to nothing, because you can relate with the needs of the people, the locals. So you tailor your resources to the needs of your local. But at the state level, you're not able to identify that easily. So the autonomy is really important. In Nigeria, there's, you know, the governors are stifling, as the case might be, the local governments. For example, in Lagos State, I would say, for instance, you know, before now, there was a tenement rate, which was collected, the revenue collection was by the local government. And then because it's a constitutional provision, so the government, the Lagos State government, seeing that they cannot usurp the constitution, so what they did was they introduced the land use charge.
Right.
So the land use charge is sine qua non to the tenement rate. So you don't expect the people to, or, you know what I mean, to pay both the tenement rate and the land use charge.
Right.
So now, the tenement rate that the local government used to, you know, which used to go to local governments, now goes to the state governments in form of
the
land use charge.
Okay. What exactly is the position of the 1999 Constitution as regards the autonomy of local government as amended? Because I remember vividly well that during the last administration, the National Assembly amended some part of the Constitution, and the local government autonomy, as well as the autonomy of the State House of Assemblies, were granted, and it was signed into law by Mr. President. Why do you think these governors are afraid to grant the autonomy of the local governments to the local governments?
You know, the truth of the matter is, we're not, you know, a lot of the governors.
Are they lawless?
You know, it's, you know, when you say stuff like this, it gives me hope that you can actually see that a lot of things are wrong with the system. You know, for example, even the Constitution says that you need 24 House of Assemblies to be able to, you know, review that law properly and give full autonomy. And we've seen that over the years, the maximum they've ever gotten was 18 out of 36 states. So he tells you that who controls most of the House of Assembly is the governor. So they do not let them do this. So in my own opinion, I think that that law in itself should be probably reviewed or repealed, or, and let, the Senate give this autonomy once and for all.
So, I mean, it could just be a case of lip service here, because we've had at different times, again, a look at that particular law where it's been tinkered with, where it's been looked at, and the last administration also signed an executive order, granting autonomy to those local governments. But as it were, it just looks like it is just on paper, and it is not something that we can see. And like you've said, the local government should be the closest to the people. They should be the ones that should interface and know where the shoe pinches the people. So if the local government, are the local governments themselves alive to their responsibilities? Do they know what is expected of them? And are they really fighting the fight to be truly autonomous?
The problem we have is that, first of all, you want to ask ourselves, how are the local government chairmen, how are they appointed? How did they get there? Were they elected? Were they appointed? Are they party members? Are they loyalists to the ruling party or the ruling governor? Are they, those are the things you want to look at. When you see the way, look, if they're actually elected, they will be responsible
to the people,
to the community. They do not have escorts. You know what I mean? If you look at most local governments, or LCDAs in Lagos State, there's only one entrance. So it means that the people can wait for their chairman as he's coming in at the gate. And when he's leaving, they can wait for him and stone him if need be. Or, or waylay him or not let him go. You can't do that to Mr. Governor. He has all the paraphernalia of the office, the escorts, the police. And what I'm saying in essence, I'm not talking about lawlessness. I'm only just saying that these people are closest to the community and they are accessible. If you go to the local government, it's like a market all the time. You can't go to the governor's office. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
I do.
So we're saying here that as much as they are at the local level, they also deserve all of the paraphernalia of office, just like the governor or the president should be accorded.
Oh no, I don't. That would be bureaucratic and that would be expensive. No, that's not what I'm insinuating. Okay. What I'm only saying is that because of the way they are ordinary and simple to to get across to.
People have access to them.
People have access to them, and then when there's accessibility, there's proximity and there's service.
Okay.
But when you do not, for example, let me give a clear example. So the Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, came to Lagos at some point recently, after he became president, and he drove on the Third Mainland Bridge. And he saw how bad it was. And he gave an executive order for it to be fixed.
Right.
Excuse me. Peradventure, he didn't live in Lagos, or he was not going to his house in Ikoyi. So if he was flying out of the country, so he came into the Mohammed, I'm just saying.
Right, and if he had not driven on that road,
he wouldn't have
how would he know?
Right.
He would have known. And I tell you something, when presidents are going places, they do patch up quickly, so they do not see. But the local government chairman,
they can see. They live within the people.
They live with the people. They see the market women. They see the vulnerables. They see the people who have no access to health. They see they see it firsthand.
Okay, as much as they see these people, as much as they live in their communities, do they have the power to shoulder those responsibilities? And what is the position of the law on this joint account committee between the state and local government, wherein when the allocation of the local government is coming from the federal government, it goes directly to the state, and Mr. Governor might decide to give or not to give.
It's crazy. This is what I'm saying. They can't function. So if the federal government, for example, allocates 10 million to one local government X, and Mr. Governor decides that I'm going to give you 1 million or 2 million, that's it. There's nothing, to rebut that. Also, don't forget that whoever is the local government chairman was either appointed or recommended. He was not elected. So, by the way, are you aware that any misbehavior or anything that the local government does,
The councillors are there to take him out.
no, the speaker of the House of Assembly, they call them at random, like you know, they call them like they're calling the drivers, and I'm sorry, excuse. They just call them and tell them to.
So that's also part of the problem.
My own take is this: give them the autonomy. They do not have immunity. Section 308 does not protect, so they do not have immunity. So what I'm saying to you is that the EFCC is there, the ICPC is there, the police is there, the DSS, they have no immunity.
Okay.
So give them their allocation, give them their autonomy, put structures in place so that they can deliver.
Is the EFCC not also guilty? Because they know what is happening.
Oh, wait,
Why can't they question the governors or the state?
So what I'm saying is, so even if the AFCC, okay, so who is actually, there's a position of local standard. For example, who is writing, how many local governments have come out, local government chairmen
To
have
complain.
come, because they are there by favor or by, I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So if they were elected, then they have a ground. Look, you need to, look, in developed countries, for instance, let me just use the UK, which is like, you know, the closest to us.
To us here.
So they, for instance, they have a vibrant website. The local government councils, they have the vibrant website. They have newsletters. They will give you a breakdown of how much money was received, how much money was spent, on what. So how are you able to juxtapose that situation to the situation that is on ground here?
Accountability is also very key here. And so if, I'm sure one of the good books also says that he who is faithful in little, when you give that person better responsibilities, they should also be able to deliver. So when you also look at the antecedents of local government chairmen in time past in Nigeria, would you say that, of course, they've also lived up to expectations from what the Constitution created for their roles and responsibilities? Have they also been there? Have they been viable for enough so that this fight, because again, we're fighting for the local government here and asking that they be given the free hand to do what they need to do. So be it elected, be it appointed, be it caretaker, at least they are there occupying the office. Are they also justifying the means by which the people expect in the first place for them to be there and act as local government chair before we talk about whether or not they're there by favor or by extension? So do they also understand why they are local government chairmen?
So there's a kind of responsibility that comes with being voted in. There's another kind of responsibility that comes with being appointed.
Okay.
Now, they have so much to do with little resources to do what they need to do. Look, I keep talking about their proximity
To the people.
to the people. You know, and I understand that we might say that, oh, are they really living up to expectations? But my own take is this. When somebody has appointed you, you owe that person some kind of favor. But if the people elected you or voted for you, look, your responsibility and your commitment is to the people who voted you. Because what also we all know is that within the twinkle of an eye, the tenure of the election, another election cycle comes. And an average African or average Nigerian wants to do a minimum of the terms allotted to them. So they want to do 2 terms. So I'm saying to you that because you know that you're still going back to these people, and then there's proximity, you are accessible. Look, definitely there'll be delivery.
I love the fact that you raised that particular aspect of one not being able to look straight into the eyes of somebody that favored you for becoming a local government chairman. Let's look at the process that usually brings them to power. I'm still waiting to see that state in the Federal Republic of Nigeria whereby an opposition will win a local government election. Because the state is also in charge of the Electoral Commission of the state. And so how do we have transparency at the grassroots if the members of the Electoral Commission are selected by governor, the chairman are selected by governor? How do we want the local government to grow?
So coming to that, as a country.
If there is a state ruled by PDP, every local government chairman there, PDP.
Just like what happened in Oyo State.
True.
So what I'm saying is, we need a total revamp and restructure of a lot of things in our Nigerian state. And even this state INEC thing needs to be, we need to restructure it. But I also say, I make bold to say that if you're a grassroots person, right, it's always very difficult to be rigged out of an election. You cannot rig an unpopular candidate. I say that a lot of times. People don't agree with me. But you cannot rig in an unpopular candidate. When you do that, it makes the environment very volatile and sensitive.
So you must also have a grasp of your local, and like they say, politics is local. Every politics is local.
It's very key. So there are people, look, grassroots is key. It's almost impossible to usurp, grassroots held by a particular, and that's why Lagos State, will probably be APC for a very, very long time, because the grassroots, the APC is well grounded in the grassroots of every local government of Lagos State.
Talking about popularity of the candidate at the local government level, I think time he was in Lagos State not too long ago, there was a particular man, Kakware. He decamped from the APC to another party, and he won that election.
Right.
That's the power of grassroots. The people, they know their people. They know who is for them. You reckon? So that's what happens. That's why when you're grounded in the grassroots, it's a win-win situation for you most of the time.
Right. So again, we're talking about, because the biggest challenge here, we're talking about the autonomy, is financing. And we know that if the resources are not there, like you also mentioned earlier, it's going to be pretty difficult for the local government chairman to perform their roles and responsibilities adequately. So is this not time for them to also start looking at self-financing or self-funding as a means to also doing some of those things that the law has asked them to do?
Okay, so I would talk about, for example, in Lagos, I did mention to you that
the land use charge and the tenement rate.
Okay, so I also go to signage.
Okay.
Advertising.
It's been taken away from them.
It's been taken away from them as well.
Now there's an agency.
There's LASA. So you're stifling them. You're squeezing them from revenue generation. So at best, what they have now is probably TV license, alcohol license.
The TV license that you mentioned, I'm just going to quickly say something about an article I read last weekend. Some guy who relocated to the UK in the 90s, and he said he went with his father to buy a television in a thrift shop, and they bought the television at £45, I think. And so at the end of the month, they brought him a bill that he had to pay the TV license for the year for almost 60 pounds, and he said, hello, what are you talking about? How much did I buy the TV? Are you for real? Like, you can come and take your TV. I don't want it. So, that just brought me to what you mentioned here, because a lot of people will say, oh, so I've bought a TV. Why would I pay to watch the TV in my house? But of course, it is a revenue generated, and it is authorized by law.
Oh, it is.
And so when we talk about local government, also breaking the box and looking at how they also can generate funds.
I understand that part of it, and it will be, but I see they're able to do that. Think out of the box, look at ways of generating more funds for their local government. But, I'll say something to you if you're using Lagos State as the case study, Lagos State, we have people who are fasting, who think way ahead. So what I'm saying to you that you'll be surprised that whatever area the local governments are beginning to think about, it might result into double taxation,
right,
or double levies to the masses, and then he makes them unpopular. You understand? For example, I gave the instance of the land use and all that. So almost every, right now I think we're even overtaxed.
Looking at Lagos again, there are some local governments that generate as much as millions, if not close to billions, as their IGR. But the question is this, in some other parts of the state, what this local government generates as their own IGR, what do they do with it? And that will bring the question of corruption on the part of the local government as well.
Okay, so like I said, you know, we need, if we're going to make them accountable, right, we need to make them accountable. How do we make them accountable? So it's very simple. So if you live in, for instance, I don't want to mention local government, you live in any kind of local government, LCDA, and you can identify this is their IGR, you know what I mean, and then vis-a-vis the project, you can actually write a petition.
Can they come out, like you have cited, the case of England, can they come out and be transparent? This is what we have generated.
Look, that's what I'm saying. Look, I think maybe it's another matter that, you know, we should take to court now and then.
Because if we are questioning the transparency of governors, we should question the chairman of the local government.
Well. We should start from the local government. There must be transparency. Do you get what I'm saying? There should be transparency, in my own opinion, as well. You know what I mean? So, but however, I also want you to look at it. For example, how are you transparent if, for instance, the federal government has allocated 10 million to you, and then when it's getting to you, you're getting 2 million. Do you put out there that you receive 2 million in terms of federal allocation, or do you say you receive 10 million?
You're out of office.
You better start packing your bag and baggages.
So until there is this autonomy we're talking about, then there will be more accountability.
But won't they abuse it as well?
Now, like I just said,
because some of their councillors, they are the lapdog of the chairman.
I agree with you, but can I just say something right quick? So, the president, he's not monitoring the governors, right? Now, let the local government chairman, let the local government be independent as well. Now, the disadvantage to them, or advantage to Nigerians, is that they do not have any immunity. So it means that you can go to office today and you can be arrested right there from your office and straight to jail, or straight to Kirikiri, or straight to, you know what I mean, you know, whatever it is. You can be charged to court. You can be made accountable. There should be a system to make them accountable, not holding them or stifling them, you know, and not giving them giving them the autonomy that they require simply because you think they would abuse the office. No, give them the autonomy, put system of checks and balances, and monitor what has been given to them. That is exactly how a government is run.
Okay. Yes, the last administration, of course, signed that bill into law for the full autonomy, but as it is, we're still grasping with actually according the local governments the full autonomy that they truly deserve. And only last week, the Senate asked that the president should start advocacy for full local government autonomy. And in their words, they are asking the president to convene a national dialogue involving governors, state legislators, local government officials, civil society organizations, and community leaders to discuss the roadmap towards achieving full local government autonomy. So if we claim that there is local government autonomy in Nigeria, and the Senate today is still asking that, you know, a sit around or a round table be convened, again, to drum the support, is it that we do not follow the dictates of the rule of law, or we play lip service to some of these things?
We play lip service
to issues.
To these issues because they're financial gains. That's why we're here as a nation.
Financial gains on the part of
the system.
the system.
The system.
Okay.
So, for example, we did talk about how the local government chairmen are appointed, you know what I'm saying?
Selected.
And then selected. And then we do talk about how the federal government allocation to the local government is routed
Through the state.
through the state. So when it gets to the state, what gets
to the local government?
So we're saying, let the local government have their account, let their allocation come straight
to them
from the federal to them. let there be full autonomy.
Right. And if there's full autonomy, then, of course, the EFCC, the ICPC should be on ground. If there are infractions, then they can do the needful.
Absolutely.
And then that way is more transparent.
That's what I'm saying. Absolutely. So why are we crying more than the bereaved? Why are we anticipating what is not or what has not been, right? It's like saying, oh, why if you give Nigeria independence, they will not manage it. Please give us our independence.
But the governors will also hide under the fact that they've also undertaken projects for the local government and they also need to recoup their funds.
Can they face their own projects and let the local government face? Look, there are too many inroads within the communities.
That are bad.
They're bad.
Okay.
So the local governments identify that. It's what they see. So let them do it. Look, like I said, once we have an allocation to them, it is publicized. We should publish it. We should stop, you know what I mean, publish it. Publish whatever allocation is given to any tier of government.
The revenue mobilization publishes what is shared every month. So if they all get their own fair share and is given to them directly, we can monitor from there.
Exactly. And then we should insist that every local government must have a vibrant website.
Aside from the website now.
And newsletter to say, give an update of what you have done. It should be mandatory.
Okay.
You should be able to, it should be in public domain. It should be trite to the public to be able to see what has been done with the allocation and the revenue generated from each local government.
So that people can ask questions.
So people can ask questions.
Okay, when you look at the quality of lawmakers that we have at the grassroots level, are they competent enough to add any value to the life of the people? Because somebody is elected a councillor today, he start buying vehicles, he will marry women, different women, and you know.
Have you been invited to one of the weddings?
I mean, but I'm very close to some of these people, and some of the things that they do would amaze you. So if you are a councillor and you cannot contribute anything where you are making laws, then what's the essence of you being there, representing the people? Because even at the ward level, people are suffering. So the quality of the lawmakers that we have at the local government level, are they also adding any value at all?
So this brings us to the point where people like you should probably veer into politics.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Politics is expensive.
So now, and then my own take is that people should begin to ask questions, right? Even if you're not going into politics, just like the way you're sensitizing and saying this, please be more vocal in lieu of that. Look, that's why, you know, education is very important. And I sincerely feel that, you know, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm advocating for even local government autonomy is, you know, I mean, to impact on education as well.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying? You know, because if the people are educated and they're exposed, they can actually ask questions.
Right. So
They can.
So this matter is one that is a serious issue, but again, as a country, we seem to be sweeping it under the carpet.
It is.
And the Senate also, a senator identified the fact that currently in Nigeria, there are close to 17 states that are currently operating a caretaker committee. Rivers is one, and the court has also said that you cannot extend their tenure. Local government election must be conducted. In Anambra State, Senator Ifeanyi Oba said that election has not been conducted in 18 years. Local government elections have been conducted in 18 years. And so if we have pockets of issues across the nation, such as this, where you have only places where, of course, election will happen should happen every 3 years. That's what the law states. But of course, when you have change of guard, you have caretaker committees, you have their tenure being extended from, you know, year in, year out. And so if we have things like this around the country happening, there is no uniformity. Absolutely. So what are we talking about?
So I think that there should be a roadmap to even the autonomy. So we're not talking about just financial autonomy now. Autonomy of the local government autonomy is just not only financial.
Right.
total autonomy. The elections must be held.
Okay.
And so there should be a roadmap. Just like
we hold elections.
exactly.
Elections.
So we just got just like INEC would just give a timetable and say like across the 36 states of the federation, elections must be held.
Okay.
But is it INEC that will determine when local government election will take place?
It should be the state. The
state sec. But what I'm saying about the state sec should, right? But from directives from the federal.
Okay.
Saying each state should come up with this so timetable.
So there can be a uniform calendar, just like we have an election year
there can
in
be,
Nigeria, and so we have an election year, or sometimes, of course, we have runoff.
Yes.
So we know that certain times
yes,
there are elections.
exactly.
So that also is needed at the local
It is needed. It is needed.
Or do you think we should amend our constitution in such a way that INEC will take over the responsibility of state electoral commissions?
Honestly, I would advocate for that.
Why?
Because then we are sure that we'll probably have a free and fair election. And that election would not be manipulated by the ruling party of each state. I would rather that, to be honest.
Or the governor.
Or the governor, yes.
So if there's an umbrella, just like INEC will conduct all elections.
Yes, all elections.
Okay.
And so it grants them the requisite or the required autonomy. So it means that they're recognized by the Independent Electoral Commission. So it means that they will vie for the office like every other office. And it makes them accountable, to be honest.
Okay, I want to take you back to the people. You said the people should question the local government chairman, demand for these particular projects or the other. But the people are also part of the problem.
True.
Because these are the people that will go and meet the local government chairman. I want to pay my children's school fees. I want to do my children's naming. I want to do my grandma's party. And so when you put such bills before them, then how are you able to look at them in the face and question them?
Okay, so, I think, like I said earlier, it's the system issue. We need to look out for the vulnerables, by law, not people approaching individuals and asking for favors. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So we should put a system where we can identify the vulnerables, like they do in developed countries. Identify them. You know what I mean? Like I said, I was talking about council flats, how they build these council flats and give it to people who cannot afford to buy, build, or even rent houses. And they give it to them at discounted prices. Some of them even for free. So that's what I'm saying. So the moment there's a system, it's a systematic issue, it's a systematic problem. So we need to identify that as well. As a nation, I mean, Lagos State is trying to do something now which is laudable, very laudable, under the ECOSHA scheme. How they're trying to identify the vulnerables, and then pay for their health. And partner with some private, organizations to do that. That is very laudable. It's a big step in the right direction. Those are the kind of things, things we're asking that, other state governments should emulate. But the fact is, like I said, this issue of how somebody is going to approach the governor, approach the local government chairman or the councillors for petty cash or for petty favors, it's a systematic problem. And that's why I'm saying that we should, nib it, like provide, legal solutions, like, lawful solutions provided for
in the
Constitution or the laws or the bylaws of the local government to address these issues, such that it doesn't come as a personal favor. It comes as a favor or good gesture from the government
to the society.
To the society.
Right. As we wrap up this conversation today, how optimistic are you that at the end of the day, it might take a while, but Nigeria will get it right?
Honestly, I'm an ardent believer in Nigeria, and that's why it breaks my heart that, incidentally, I mean, we're a family of 8 from my mom, and 6 boys. At some point, the 5 of my brothers were abroad, and I'm the youngest. I refused to leave. Even when I had the opportunity to go, I refused to leave. So I would go for maximum 10 days at the time, and returned to Nigeria. And I believe so much in Nigeria. You know what I mean? Nigeria is home. And Nigeria, to be honest, is one of the greatest countries that would be. And I believe we'll get it right.
I like that. That will be.
That will be. You know, because you see, we have all the natural resources, human resources. We have everything at our disposal. But also, we also need to change our mindset.
Right.
What about leadership?
Honestly, we have not been very lucky.
But are we gravitating towards some respite?
I believe so. I believe that, you know, from the incumbent president, I believe would, you know, moving forward, we'll get, you know, it will get better and better, you know, by the grace of God.
Okay.
You know.
There's always the God factor.
I
was hoping you were not going to go there.
No, I would. Yes, you see, I mean, for me, I mean, I'm a believer, and I also believe that the spiritual things control the physical. In as much as some people, you know, Nigeria is a peculiar state. You know what I mean? You see, you can't be anything in Nigeria in terms of politics if you don't have the financial muscle.
Sure.
Or a godfather.
Or a godfather. But the financial muscle is so massive, like, you know what I mean? So because even your godfather has the financial muscle to be a godfather. So that's why I talk about the financial muscle. And that's why, so politics in Nigeria is very expensive. Do you know how many polling booths are in the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Do you know how many agents you will need to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? So you need a fortune. So it's not child's play.
Is politics an investment in this part of the world?
That's where the problem is, because it is an investment, because you bring your money in, then you want to recoup. So until we get to a point where we have leaders who already, honestly, at some point are advocating that you shouldn't even vie, I mean, it might be racist, but you shouldn't vie for the post or for the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria or any governor of the state if you are not a successful entrepreneur. You must have
managed people.
You must have managed people. You must have excelled in your chosen profession or businesses before you come think of managing, you know, the country. Most of them have not even turned 2 naira to 4 naira, and then they end up being whatever they are. And then you see that some of them, you even find out that they were horribly in debt before they came into power. Politics. So many of them.
All right, I'm sure that, of course, but because you're an ardent believer in the project Nigeria,
yes.
We would continue to speak life to Nigeria.
Yes,
and
yes.
be hopeful that one day we would all be here to see the success story. Thank you so much, Oluseye Fasoranti, for finding time to be here on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, that's the much time will permit us to take on this segment of the program. Local government autonomy is one that is really, really important and one that is really needed if indeed grassroots development is to be embraced to its optimal level in Nigeria.